Hey everybody, it's Nick from Hi-Fi for All, and it's been a long time since we've done a video, but a lot has happened since we last met. And yeah, so today is the day, and I am incredibly excited to officially announce the release of the HFA Dahlia 2. It's a brand new headphone that I've been working on for quite a while now, really since the launch of the Dalia 1 last year. It was when I had some ideas and started doing prototypes for the Dalia 2. And I'm really excited to finally be able to bring this headphone to you. And yeah, let's check it out. I wanted to really give you a quick lay of the land before I leave for Can Jam tomorrow. So I'm at the workbench right now, and let's quickly take a look at the Dalia 2 headphone. All right, let's see here. Okay, so here we are at the bench, and I've got a few headphones I'd like to show you. Here is the Dalia 2, and we're gonna go over some of the new features of the Dalia 2 and compare it to the Dalia 1 to show you what has been updated. Okay, and so here is the Dalia 2 in all of its glory. This is the raw steel colorway, which is a colorway that was on the Dalia 1, but we're bringing it back. And a few things that you'll notice just design-wise, we have a new cool metal badge here. This is a fully embossed metal nameplate that I make in my workshop, and I'll have another video to show you how I make all these new parts, just like the Dalia 1, but with the 2, I'm just going to do a quick overview right now of what it looks like. And yeah, so with the raw steel, we have a stainless steel logo nameplate that's embossed. So that's what it looks like right there. And you can see on my workbench, I actually have some prototypes of these nameplates. Here's a steel one. That's what it looks like. So yeah, I made that. And some of these failed, but it took a long time to figure out the settings and how to get this right and dialed in. I made a little jig for my laser engraver. You can actually see this here, this little jig with the nameplates that pop in there. And it's made out of plastic, so that means that I had to lower the power so that it wouldn't melt the jig, but also at the same time, when it embosses, it just has a lot of passes. Each one of these nameplates is about 8 to 9 minutes of machine time, depending on the material. And so that pops in right there, and then it does the embossing, and it just goes layer after layer after layer until we get a nice logo there. So yeah, I'll do another video on how I make these exactly, but yeah, that's the jig. And for the steel, we have the stainless steel matching plate, which is pretty cool. And then we also have Stealth Black, which makes its return for the Dalia 2. Very nice, look at that. Stealth Black, so the same matte black grille, and we have for the nameplate, we have an embossed piece of brass. And so I think that the brass with the black really keeps things nice and classy, and gives you a nice little pop of color as well. So it's still pretty subdued, but I think that it just gives it that nice touch right here, touch of class. So that's the brass with the Stealth Black. And what I'm really excited about is to bring you a new colorway for the Dalia 2. So let's take a look at the new colorway. I'm going to move these aside for now. And here is the brand new colorway making its debut for the Dalia 2. And this is the metallic copper. So there it is, folks. Metallic copper, which I think is really beautiful. There's a story behind this metallic copper colorway, and it was actually initially ideated by a good friend of mine, Matt Marslander, who has a YouTube channel that I'll link, that you may have heard of and may have seen some of his videos. His name's Matt. He actually, for the Dalia 1, he sent me an email asking me, hey Nick, and he actually had a Photoshop of the Dalia 1, but he Photoshopped in copper grills, and he sent it to me, and he's like, hey Nick, is this possible? Can we do this for a custom Dalia? And I said, yeah, I think we could try that out. So I got a bunch of different copper paints and experimented and tried different things. And the one I liked the most that I thought was really, really interesting was the metallic copper. And so there's a slight iridescence to this metallic copper grill. I don't know if you can see this on the camera or not, But in person, it's really cool. When it catches the light at an angle, you can kind of see this little iridescence inside the paint. And I think that gives it a nice effect. And also I do all these grills, I paint them by hand in my shop. So my supplier that I get the grills from actually does the black, but because this paint is very particular and I kind of want to keep it a trade secret, I do the painting myself. And so that creates this really cool effect. It's still, it's not gaudy. Like I thought, okay, if we're gonna do a copper headphone, maybe I could do like electroplating or something, but I just thought that would be too weird looking and too gaudy. I wanted to keep it still pretty classy. And for the nameplate, we have a piece of raw copper, which is really cool. This is actually a real piece of raw copper that's been embossed with the logo. And at first glance, this copper is going to appear kind of bright and a little brighter than the grill itself. But the thing is, like the way copper naturally patinas, I just feel like over time that's going to naturally just get darker. And so, whenever you see something made of copper, initially it appears really shiny and bright, but then over time there starts to be this like darkening and dulling of the copper. And I think that's what's going to happen here on the nameplate, because it's not sealed or anything. It's just like exposed raw copper. So I think that over time that nameplate's going to more closely match a grill and look really, really nice. Even just now though, I think it looks really cool. So yeah, so metallic colorway. So that's metallic copper. So yeah, new color for Dalia 2. It's really exciting. I think people are going to really like it. And thank you so much to Matt, who inspired this color and who photoshopped the mock-up of it. And I just thought it looked really cool. Even in the Photoshop, it looked really neat. So I just thought, okay, we got to try this. We got to make this look really nice. So thank you to Matt for the idea, and I really hope that everyone enjoys this new option. Okay, so a few other things that have been updated. If we're just going to walk around the Dalia 2, just design-wise, you'll notice that there is some real height to the cup now. And so when you look at the cup from a profile perspective, you'll see that the driver is actually mounted higher in the ear cup. Previously with the Dalia 1, like if we take a look at this, I have the Dalia 1 right here, my beloved. It's really flat, so there's no protrusion, and the driver is mounted flush with the cup itself. Whereas the Dalia 2, the driver is mounted 5 millimeters further away from the ear. And first of all, number one, why did we do this? Okay, so moving the driver further from the ear addressed a complaint with the Dalia 1, which was my ear. Some folks had problems where their ear was touching the driver on the inside. So moving the driver further away now gives you more room in the cup for your ear. And you notice it right away when you put on if you've ever tried the Dalia 1, when you put on the Dalia 2, you'll notice, wow, my ear has a lot of room in this cup. It's very roomy and spacious. Your ear likely won't even touch the driver. It just kind of floats in the cup because there's just more space in there now. So that's something that's really nice comfort-wise. And also what it does for the sound, when you pull the driver further away from your ear, you instantly get this wide sound staging effect because there's more room in the cup, and because the point source of the sound is further away, what happens is everything just sounds wider and more spread out. And so another piece of feedback that I got from the Dalia 1 was that during really busy tracks or songs where there's just a lot going on, sometimes it can feel a little congested, where there's just a lot of stuff being packed in there into a relatively small space. And so with the V2, or not the V2, the Dalia 2, sorry, it's not a version, it's actually a Dalia 2, during those busy tracks and during moments where there's a lot of things in the mix, things do have a little more separation, and they occupy more of their own space in a wider field. So that's something that you'll hear immediately because the drivers are further away. So that's nice. That's a nice feature. Let's see. Okay, and so yeah, so that's a big change from the Dalia 2. And also what's happening here is you can see this little like round spot right here where there's like a little divot in the design. That's actually just a design feature, but what it does is it actually highlights and illustrates the exact space where I've inserted a a very heavy piece of mass for the driver. And so let's take a look at that now. Hold on one second. Okay, so let's take a look. Here I have an air cup for the Dalia 2, which is right here, and this is a 15-gram tungsten weight. And so it's like a little donut. It's made out of tungsten, and I embed the tungsten right behind the driver right here, just like that. That's what it looks like. And so this little mass acts as a damper behind the driver. So it's also called, it's known as mass loading. And so what you do is you mass load the driver so that the driver has mass behind it. And it helps with basically changing the resonance of the ear cup so that certain things like distortion characteristics are lowered and mitigated using more mass. And so there's different ways to do this and accomplish this. For example, if you've ever heard something like a ZMF headphone, ZMF has mass in its ear cup. It uses different types of woods and resins, and the actual ear cup itself contains a lot of mass. And that's really what helps a ZMF headphone sound the way it does. And so people really love the way the headphones produce this like thick, lush sound, and a lot of that does have to do with the mass of the ear cup. And so by implementing a piece of really dense piece of mass in this ear cup, achieving a similar type of goal. And so what the mass does is it allows the Dalia 2 to sound a lot, thicker and juicier. Just like it's got a thickened mid-range, which is really nice. And it also helps the bass response extend a little further down. So the sub bass on the Dalia 1 extended down to about 60 hertz before it would roll off. The Dalia 2 extends down to about 45 hertz. So we get a little bit of sub bass extension, which is really nice. And we also get a slight bass lift. And so you'll actually find that the Dalia 2 has more bass in terms of quantity. You'll get a probably anywhere between a 2 to 3 dB lift in the bass, just the overall bass region, and it's really clean. It doesn't bleed into the mids at all. It's just a really clean bass lift. And so what that sounds like is just the sound of the Dalia 2 is going to be a lot more punchy and slammy, but in a very clean and tight way, which is nice. That's what we want. And so that was something that a lot of folks with the Dalia 1 asked for, was just more bass. You know, who doesn't love bass? Everyone's always asking for more bass, and you think you want more bass, but then when I give you more bass, you're like, oh no, I don't like that bass, because it's either muddy or, it adds distortion, it just doesn't sound clean and it's not great. So you really want more bass, but you want it delivered in a really clean and precise way, and that's what the Dalia 2 does, which is really, really nice. It's very tasteful. And the other thing that mass loading the driver does is it actually helps with the treble response as well. And so what you're going to find is it doesn't sound as peaky or as shouty as a headphone without a piece of mass. And so it helps with that shoutiness, and it kind of tames the treble as well. And that's something that I noticed right away. And so, yeah, so the mass loading of the driver, it makes a noticeable audible improvement in the sound and performance of the headphone. And the other thing I noticed too, and this is a piece of feedback I got from several people on the Dalia 1, was, whenever there's a song or a track where there's sub bass in the track, like a booming, bass line that's just like doof doof doof, it hits, and then there's a vocalist on top of that, the vocals tend to get a little choppy on the Dalia 1, and that's something that a few folks pointed out to me, and actually they gave me a few test tracks. There's a Dua Lipa test track that you can hear this on, and Billie Eilish sometimes does this, where like the vocals get kind of choppy during a heavy bass line. And what that is just the driver's just breaking up. Like the dynamic driver is trying to deliver high excursion bass, but at the same time trying to deliver really fast treble, female vocals up in like the 5K area. And the driver just can't keep up with all that nonsense, and it just gets all choppy and weird. It doesn't sound natural. The vocal timbre gets all messed up. But with the V2, the Dahlia 2, I almost said V2 again, it's not the V2. With the Dahlia 2, that's less of an issue. And so there are a lot of tracks now where that just doesn't happen. And on a few of the test tracks that I listened to for this effect, for this area, I was just really surprised. It's really nice. So what you're going to find is that it does perform better in, tracks that are busier and where there's a lot going on, and where there's vocals and bass. You'll find that the vocals maintain their natural timbre. They don't get all weird and choppy. Like there's like a weird tremolo effect. That part's relatively smoothed out, which is really nice. And that's something that a few folks were asking for in the Dahlia 1, and hopefully they'll hear an improvement with the Dahlia 2. So that's something that's really exciting and really nice. And believe me, I did not want to use tungsten in this headphone. A lot of people are using exotic materials to try to reduce the weight of the headphone, like magnesium and things. I'm using exotic materials to make the headphone heavier, and that's just like the opposite of what you really want to do. For a number of reasons. Number one, using an exotic material like tungsten is really disruptive to the manufacturing process. Let me tell you, it is not easy to get tungsten, especially custom machined pieces of tungsten like this. It is not easy to acquire this. There is no tungsten being manufactured in the United States. Let me just tell you that right now. All tungsten that we use is imported, and the largest supplier and manufacturer of tungsten pieces is China. That's just the reality of the world. Some of it comes from places like Africa, Asia, but like most of it comes from China. And unfortunately, with the current administration in the United States, we still have big tariffs on tungsten. So tungsten's twice as expensive as it should be, which doesn't make any sense, because who are we protecting at this point? Because all tungsten's imported. So I don't understand why that's a situation, but it is. And so there's that. The other thing is China has implemented over the last few months export controls on who they export tungsten to, which makes it even harder to get, because now the suppliers have dwindled down to just a few in China. And typically tungsten is imported for military or aerospace applications. And China's done exporting tungsten to the United States for military applications. So you have to really make a big case for why you need the tungsten, what it's used for, and then the price of tungsten in China has skyrocketed like 500% in the last year. It's wild. So using this in a headphone, it's just really impractical and absurd. But guess what? I had to do it because there's not a lot of space behind the driver in this design. I wanted to maintain this design and not make the ear cup just stick out really far, because that's one thing. And the other thing is I wanted the mass to have a low center of gravity, really close to the driver. If I used something like steel or brass or something, or even lead, it would have to be a much bigger piece, and a lot of the mass would be further away from the driver, so it would have less of an effect. And so that's another just practical mechanical reason why tungsten is the best choice for this application. For example, if I were to use the second heaviest thing next to this, which would be like lead, this is 15 grams, okay? Now if you look at this driver, this entire driver is 30 grams. So this is literally half the weight of this entire driver motor. Like that's the crazy thing about this piece. It's so dense and heavy, you can like feel the weight. Now this piece, if it was made out of lead, would be about 7 grams, about half the weight. So that just wouldn't get it done. Steel would be like 3 grams, we're not even touching it. Like, okay, the effect would just not be there. So in order to get this, to have the effect that I need, it has to be made out of tungsten. And so that's just where we're at. And also this piece right here, this tungsten, is actually more expensive than this entire driver. So we basically more than doubled the price of this driver. So bam, there you go. There's a tungsten mass loaded driver right there. And you can actually see the sound hole. It's like perfectly centered over that. It's kind of cool. So that's what it looks like right there. Boom. So I modded the driver. So there you go. I really didn't want to light this. I actually initially tested some tungsten in here, and then I listened to it for a couple of weeks. And then I took out the tungsten and I listened to the same headphone without tungsten, and I was like really hoping I liked it just as much and that it sounded the same. And initially, I think I was having some cognitive dissonance. I was like, oh yeah, I actually like the one without tungsten better. This is sweet. Oh, thank God, because I really don't want to have to deal with this. But you know what? I put the tungsten back in, listened to it again, and I was like, dang, it does sound better. Okay, fine. So I gave in, and yeah, there we go. So now for the Dalia 2, there's a nice piece of tungsten in each cup. And I also made like a sleeve of these things, like a carrying sleeve, because I wanted to make sure that they're really taken care of. So that, yeah, so that we got this thing. That's a mechanical update to the Dalia 2. And you can see where it's embedded right here. I made this little divot in the design, mostly just to show you where it is. It doesn't do anything, like there's no reason why this exists. But it also just kind of breaks up the design nicely, I think. But yeah, that's just to like illustrate like where that tungsten is embedded, which is kind of cool. Yeah, and so by pushing the driver back, what I also did was, you can see here the splines, that the support structure around the ear cup is actually significantly thicker, especially towards the center. What that does is it creates a lot more rigidity in the ear cup, and that also delivers better mids. And so I tested that out and worked with different thicknesses of this support structure grill, and found that the thicker and beefier I made it, the better the mids sounded. Just more rigidity is good for the ear cup. So that's another structural improvement over the Dalia 1. So yeah, so that's great. Looking around the headphone again, I mean, all these parts are new. Literally, I think I redesigned almost every part of this headphone. The gimbal arm that attaches to the headphone has been redesigned, and so in the previous Dalia 1, you'll notice that there is a very clean, sleek design with the gimbal arm. Like there's no exterior screws. You can see right here, nothing right here. You can't even see where it's mounted, which is really nice. Like aesthetically, it's just super clean and modern. And I did it mostly because of the way it looked. I really wanted to have a clean design. And so the way this mounts is from the inside, where there's like a screw that screws into the inside of this gimbal arm right here, and it kind of pulls the arm into the cup, and that's how it's stabilized and mounted. And what I did with the Dalia 2, because I wanted to, I mean, this headphone's gone on a bulk cycle. Look at it, it's pretty swole now. So I wanted to like really go around and make the headphone super robust and kind of tanky. And so now I'm using these rivet bolts, where there's like a rivet bolt that goes through the yoke, or the gimbal arm, and then there's another bolt on the other side that goes into the rivet. And so the whole like ear cup is actually being pinched from both sides now. And so that just gives this whole area right here a lot more stability and strength. I mean, it's probably overkill, honestly. The Dalia 1 was probably fine. I mean, I didn't have any issues with this, honestly, but I just wanted to go through and figure out ways to really shore up and make things as robust as possible and really strong and sturdy. So that's another like little design tweak, and it requires like more nylon washers. This rivet bolt is like 10 times more expensive than this situation, so it's more money to do this. But you know what? Like, you know, it's just better. So just want to make it better. And so yeah, you'll see on both sides now, it's just a really strong, stable setup. And then looking at where the rod, the yoke rod slides through, this slider's also been beefed up. And so you'll see now that it's got this more three-dimensionality, where there's, on the other one, it's more flat and sleek and streamlined on the Dalia 1. So you can see how I really wanted to make this thin and sleek and light, and you know, you can see the profile on this is just really, yeah, it's just really, really thin. And then there's just like a little hole here. Whereas on the Dalia 2, I bulked it up and I thickened it, and now you can see that it's like a lot thicker and beefier. And so, yeah, so it's gonna really prevent any kind of plastic creep that could possibly happen when you tighten the rod, tighten the sleeve bearing for the rod to increase the tension. It's just gonna be a lot stronger, more robust, and hold its form better. And so that's one thing I did there. And also it kind of looks cool, to be honest, if I look at it. Yeah, it's not as like thin and sleek, but I don't know, it's just kind of neat looking from the top, especially. You can kind of see the shape of it now. It's got this like curvature that's kind of cool. And then I added little finger grips too, because a lot of times when you adjust it, you like pull down with your pointy finger. That's how I pull it down a lot of times. And I'm like, wow, that's really slippery right here. Dang. So you can go on both sides, really, like right here or here. And so I added these finger grips right here. You can see right here. They're like just like a little grippy textures that feel really grippy. So when you pull down on it, it just has a more, a sturdier pull. So that's like a little ergonomic improvement. And honestly, I think the whole thing just looks a little more interesting than the old one, but also it's just functional actually. It's not really design. It's just like more like, strength and ergonomics, but ended up, I think, looking cool and interesting. So yeah, another update. So let's take a look here. So yeah, those are the majority of the updates. On the inside, because there isn't a lot of space now that I push the driver back, I had to re-engineer this clip, this retention system that holds the grill and the damping material in place. And yeah, this was insanely difficult because this piece right here used to be like 3 millimeters thick, and now it's 1.5. And just to shave off 1.5 millimeters on the clip was a real challenge because I needed to maintain the rigidity and strength of this clip. And so I had to experiment with a lot of different shapes and designs and materials, and finally, we found it. So it's got this you can't really see it on the camera, but the clip now is almost like a bowl. It's like a bowl design where there's it's thinner in the inside and then bowls out. And I'm using glass infused PLA for this because it's really, really incredibly stiff. Even at 1.5 millimeters thick, which is really thin, it maintains its rigidity and strength when you try to bend it. Like I have one right here I can show you, but it's just insanely thin, but when you bend it, you're like, wow, this is really stiff. This is insanely stiff. It's just like unusually stiff. Like it shouldn't be this stiff. So yeah, this material, it's like this really exotic 3D printing material that I found. And it almost looks like ceramic when you paint it like a stone, or when you print it like a stone. And this was the only material that worked. I tried carbon fiber, composites and all this other stuff, exotic, polycarbonates, whatever, nothing worked. Nylon was just way too soft. This is the only material that had the stiffness, the modulus or whatever it's called, the strength to be able to hold down the grill and the damp material at this thickness. And there's no other way to do it because there's just no room left in the ear cup. If you look at the inside of the ear cup now on the Dalia 2, you'll see that everything has to be pressed between this very, very small lip right here, which is wild. Before on the Dalia 1, you had a lot more space because it had height because the driver was up here. But now that the driver's pushed back, there's no room. So it's pretty wild how everything gets compressed and packed into such a small area, but it works and we got it to work. And it took probably about 100 different prototypes of this to figure out the final design and what actually works and what holds up over time. So yeah, so that was something internally that required a lot of engineering effort and thought, literally just to get the thinness down. It's kind of like this Apple move where you're trying to make a phone really thin for whatever reason, and you need to miniaturize all the technologies, and it sends you down this path of material science and all this other stuff, completely rethinking the shape, the materials, everything. And that's kind of what happened. So yeah, so that's it. That's the new clip. It's pretty wild. And so yeah, those are the majority of the updates for the Dalia 2. And so yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get this headphone out to everybody. Now, pricing and availability. So this headphone is going to be priced starting at $10.99, which is $100 more than the Dalia 1 was. And the reason for that is just an increase in cost, to be honest. I mean, I'm not making any more profit margin. It's the same, but now I'm using 2 pieces of really expensive tungsten. These metal plates have to be sourced, and I make these, so there's some labor in there. I have to, engrave them, and then I use a Dremel tool. I'm gonna shoot a video of me doing this. It's kind of ridiculous, but I'm using this Dremel tool to brush this out, and then some alcohol to clean it and stuff, so that it gets the perfect depth and everything. And the brushing is really nice. And I do this because of vertical integration. So I got a bunch of quotes from China, actually. Okay, make me a metal logo plate. They were like, yeah, I could do this for $1 a piece, no problem. Then you pay the tariff, so it's really $2 a piece. Okay, so still $2 a piece, that's not insane, right? It's easier than making it myself. But the problem is that they were like, oh yeah, we have a 30-day lead time, and then there's the shipping logistics and importing. So we're probably, you can plan for 2 months basically to get these metal plates. And this was, I had enough time, but the problem I had was, what if they come in and I don't like the quality's not good, or it's not to my, it's not up to the standard of what should be slapped onto a Dahlia, and that happens a lot, especially when you import things from other countries. And so what I decided was that it was more important for me to be able to make them in-house and maintain that vertical integration where I'm not waiting on a supplier, and I can just, if I need more, I can make more. And I just worked on this. I developed the system. I found the right materials. I found what the settings were. I built all the jigs. I tested everything out. I do my own brushing and stuff. And so, yeah, so that adds labor and cost to the headphone along with the tungsten. That's really mostly what accounts for the price increase. And then there's also tariff increases on all the parts, which is unfortunate. So yeah, still trying to deliver a ton of value with the Dahlia 2. I want the Dahlia 2 to really punch above its weight. And when you hear it, when you experience it, and when you see it, and when you experience the finish, I want folks to just really feel like they got an incredible piece of audio gear at a very, very good price. And also, I want it to last forever. That's why I made things a little more robust and shored up some of the pieces here, because when you buy it, I want you to be able to keep it forever. And I don't want anything to break. I don't want anything to loosen up or whatever. I just want everything to be incredibly strong and durable. And so I hope that when folks start to get the Dahlia 2 in hand, they feel that way. That's important to me. And availability. So I am shipping units now. I actually got a couple of pre-orders in from Hi-Fi-Con, and I sent out those units today. And I'm also bringing a very small handful of Dahlia 2s to Can Jam New York with me to sell, which is super exciting. They're not a lot of units, but I wanted to bring some in hand that I could offer people, because I really, I don't know, I didn't want to go down the pre-order route, at least for all of the orders again. I wanted to be able to announce a product and deliver and ship the product all at the same time. So that's something that I'm really proud of, is that I was able to figure out all the logistics, supply chains, and manufacture a batch for Can Jam New York, which I'm super, super proud of. And this will be available on the website for sale next week. There will be a product page up for the Dahlia 2 soon, probably mid next week. And that will allow you to place the order. And it's made to order, so I'm going to be doing batches just like the Dahlia 1. The lead time will still be 3 to 4 weeks because of the assembly process and QA and testing and all of that. And so it's going to be the same as the Dahlia 1, but they will start to be available for ordering next week, which is pretty exciting. And I should be able to crank out a few batches right away, which as soon as I get back from New York, I should be able to make some for everybody. So that's the plan, but I will have some units on hand for Can Jam New York, which is pretty exciting. And yeah, so that is the Dahlia 2 update for this evening. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video. I will have more content and video coming soon, and I apologize for not having more videos before this one. But I did have a child last year in June, and so I have a baby girl now. She's 8 months old, and so it's been a lot to take care of my baby, my new daughter, but also at the same time fulfill Dahlia 1 orders and continue development of Dahlia 2, and so just trying to keep up with everything and yeah, stay on top of things was a challenge, and that's largely why I haven't prioritized videos and content and YouTube stuff for you lovely folks who are watching and who care about this stuff. So I apologize. But in the future, now that the Dahlia 2 is finished and will be shipping soon, I'm going to spend some more time talking about cool stuff, about audio, not just the Dahlia, but just other fun things that I've picked up and learned along the way. What kind of gear I'm listening to, what other headphones I like, just stuff like that. Just giving updates and just chatting about stuff that I find interesting and fun. So again, thanks so much for tuning in tonight, and I hope this was informative, and I hope that you're excited about the Dahlia 2 like I am, because man, I've been listening to this headphone for the last few months, and holy smokes, honestly, this headphone sounds incredible. I love the Dahlia 1, and there are there are certain things the Dahlia 1 does better because of its design. And so if you have the Dahlia 1 and you really love things like folk music, acoustic music, stuff like that, that is very vocal forward. The Dahlia 1 just does such a good job with vocals and with things like acoustic instruments and strings and things that are not as aggressive. I feel like the Dahlia 1 just provides like a very sweet sound in that way. And I think probably just slightly sweeter than Dahlia 2. But with Dahlia 2, it like brings the excitement. Like if you like the exciting and energetic vibe of the Dahlia 1, when things pick up, Dahlia 2 is gonna blow you away. It's just gonna be like, holy smokes, this sounds insane. If you like EDM, rock, metal, you name it, everything. This headphone, it sounds good with everything. The frequency response, I'm gonna post some stuff on so you can see the difference. But Dahlia 2 just has a less fatiguing treble. The 6K peak that was on the Dahlia 1 has been pulled down quite a bit, and so what that does is it just opens up the headphone for more genres and just generally like less fatigue. And then you get more bass impact, you get tighter bass, thicker mids. I mean, who doesn't want thicker mids? Come on, seriously. Like it's just, I don't know. I mean, honestly, if you're coming to Can Jam New York, I'm really excited for you to check this out. You just have to come over and try it because it's just fantastic. I love this headphone. I can't wait to share it with everybody because it's blowing me away every day on everything. Tubes, solid state, just you plug it into your dongle. It's just good. Honestly, forget about it. Like it's just oh yeah, by the way, it's more comfortable too. You get more room in the ear cup because your ears are wide. And I mean, mine aren't, but some people just have like wide ears. Like you ever see that guy from NASA, the Jared Isaacman, or whatever? He has like ears that stick out, like probably like this, but like they're big too. And maybe that's why he's a good pilot, because he can hear things like that. But I don't know. Anyway, he could wear this headphone all day, no problem. Like it's so comfortable. It weighs a little more, but that doesn't matter. Buffalo strap, it's got you, and just more room in the ear cup. It's just, you slap it on all day, you're getting pumped up, or you're chilling out. Either way, it's just a good quality experience. I think you're gonna love it. Anyway, that's enough for me. I need to pack. I'm literally still packing for Can Jam New York. It's like almost 8 p.m. I've been working all day trying to get the QA done on this batch, and I wanted to do this video too. So time to get back to it. I'm going to Can Jam tomorrow. I hope to see some of you folks there. If you are there, hit me up. Come by the table and experience the Dalia 2. Because I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Anyway, that's it for me. Nick Hutchins signing out. High five for all. Thank you so much. Can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.